Hey everyone, Crimson Desert just had another massive patch, and I'll be going over all the updates in this video alongside the hidden updates because this is the 7th patch in a row where they've given us some secret updates that aren't mentioned in the patch notes. And I gotta say, Damiane is so much fun to play now. She has some crazy unarmed movements that you can see here, and what's great about that is she's actually probably the most fun to play. Oongka also got some pretty powerful upgrades. I'll be going over all of that in this video, but just wanted to showcase how powerful Damiane can be. She literally is insane with all these movement updates and the attacks that she's got now. Unarmed has some pretty crazy stuff going for it, and you can see here it is actually very powerful, and it's fun too. Just hilarious seeing her wreck enemies just like that. And one of the first hidden updates is that the tigers will now respawn. So I know a lot of people end up missing out on getting a tiger mount, but this has been fixed. Unfortunately, the Red Raptor, if you haven't been able to get that, it's not fixed, but I can guarantee you it's probably going to be updated next week to be able to get that. So yeah, that's your proof that the tigers are back. Another thing I do want to quickly mention is that if the tigers don't respawn for you at first, you may have to go back into your map and then travel to another Abyss Nexus, as it's not a 100% chance they'll appear. And in fact, it seems like a few different spawns for the animals have been adjusted, like the wolves. If you want to get one of the new wolf mounts, which you can see right here, this one actually isn't listed in the patch notes, though they do say that there is new mounts available. The large wolf can be got in a few different locations, like the Howling Hill right by your camp, but the most reliable in my opinion is coming over to the Wayward Woods. This is right beside the Silver Wolf Cave, which has a great amount of gold, but if you go here, there's oftentimes wolves in this area. It's also a great place to farm for meat. And I do have videos on how to tame them, but basically you're going to use Forest Palm on Cliff a few times until you can see the ride, hop on its back, go into your inventory, and feed it meat. But this patch did add actually quite a bit, and I'm surprised because this came as this is our fastest patch. Typically we get them on the weekends. Today we got it on a late night on a Thursday. Really exciting though, they added more bosses to the replay. So spoiler alert, the different bosses are Muskin, who is in Tashkalp. He's one of those guys that you do in the Coliseum. He's the final boss of that area. Corrupted Caliburn, Goyen, which kind of funny story if you know the origin of that character, Draven the Crow Caller, and Clockwork Whitehorn. So these are actually all epic fights. I'm glad they're back into the game for replays. But the big one that I think a lot of people really enjoy is Damiane got some unarmed combat skills, and I've seen some people that are confused on how to actually access the skills in the skill menu. So for that, you got to go into your inventory and come over to the skills, and what you're going to do is you're going to mouse over something like the Smiting Strike. This is like her turning slash Cliff's equivalent. Press Y or triangle on your keyboard, and on PC it's going to be pressing R, the letter R on your keyboard, and when you do that you're going to see on the left hand side that swaps between the weapons. Fist is going to be at the end there, and you can see it changed the name to Whirl Kick. A lot of these end up getting different ability names, and also it'll show it differently in the little video description there. So yeah, she's crazy. Unarmed builds are some of the best in this game, and they're the most like cinematic. Really fun to just be able to kick ass with these, so happy to see these are added to Damiane now. Damiane and Oongka also got an aerial stab similar to what Cliff has, but the big one here is Cliff's now got a blinding flash finisher for unarmed combat. This is awesome. Blinding flash finisher is one of the strongest things in this game, and being able to do that as Cliff now is actually amazing. Now, if you haven't been using blinding flash finisher, you should start because it's insane how powerful it is. And you can see there, you're able to knock enemies flying with it. But the best part about it is against bosses, it typically is going to stun the boss, let you get a bunch of free hits in as long as you got enough spirit to be able to afford it. And it just looks awesome at the same time because it's going slow-mo here. You can swap targets like that. So yeah, unarmed builds are probably some of the best in this game. They're so strong, the stagger is crazy. And in addition to this wolf mount, there is now a new bear mount as well, and I believe it's a black bear in Payloon area, so you can go hunt that out. There's also new reins for certain mounts, and you can purchase these at the different saddleries. Now the top note here for content, Damiane's got a fixed issue where the elegant carmine leather armor appeared abnormally. And you can see here what I'm talking about. So basically what happened in one of the previous updates is it had an issue there where it basically gave her like shorts. It looked a little awkward. Now you can see her thighs a little bit easier with this update. So yeah, I always get a flack for wearing this outfit, but I just think it's one of the better looking outfits for Damiane. But hey, to each their own. I am glad they fixed it though, because I know it did upset some people, and yeah, I am pretty sure this was just a glitch that happened, so it's great that this is fixed. I don't think they were really like censoring it knowing Black Desert Online, but anyways, I digress. They also fixed an issue with the faces on the bounty notice that could not be progressed if the player did not obtain Olzok's bounty notice before talking to Jan. There's actually a few quests related to Jan that aren't also mentioned here that got fixed, so for the poor souls that like to do those quests, those are now updated. They also fixed some visuals on the champion plate gloves. The Eastern Witch fan would not disappear when extracted, so this is good because, yeah, I know a lot of people were upset when that was happening with the latest update, and that's the thing with new updates is they sometimes bring about issues. And also, speaking of that, the Cuckoo Bird egg. There was an issue where it would disappear. Now, I actually did a video on how to get the Cuckoo Bird, and I said in my video before you put the egg down to save your video, like save your game, because anytime you do something weird in game, like dropping an item on the ground, there's risks that are involved. I had some people freak out at me, even though I was telling you guys do a save before you do anything like that. But glad that that's now fixed because the egg would disappear and it would upset people because obviously they wanted this mount. But yeah, anytime you're doing something in game and there's a potential for something to mess up, especially for a rare item, I highly recommend doing multiple saves. It blows my mind how many people go through this game and don't save, they just use the auto save. So just a little PSA on that. And there's a bunch of quests that got fixed now, like the check the honey quality and the Salt Road trading post. Protectors of the Abyss quest has also been updated. Plentiful Greetings quest cannot be progressed and now fixed. This is a funny one. The floppy-eared bulldogs cannot equip the Sigil of Valor. This is actually something hilarious because whenever I first got it, that was my first idea. I love the floppy-eared bulldogs. Whatever reason, they couldn't use it. Now they can, so that's great. You can now also sell your ibexes to a fence and fix a bunch of other issues related to quests in the A tag and how it can summon. They also increased the number of animals in the world that can be used as mounts. Hopefully we'll see a wyvern mount at some point, similar to the trailer for this game. I think that that would be a really nice update. They also fixed the eating animation on the easy or normal difficulties. If you play on the hard difficulty, it's kind of like Dark Souls where you actually have to eat it or go ahead and drink it. And they also fixed the hand wheel and the coil pillars. Now there are some awesome combat changes. So Oongka got added a charge phase to the explosive strike. The big one here is Oongka got improved chaining into stab when using dual wielding, and I think that's one of his best builds. So Oongka, seen here cosplaying as Maestro, playing on his iPad, now can combo out of his attacks a lot more smoothly. So I think dual wielding is one of the best builds for him. So you can go through with your attacks and then go into a stab attack a lot more quickly. So this just updates and makes him a lot more viable. I found Oongka to be weaker than the Damiane, obviously, as well as Cliff. So being able to combo that and go into these different attacks is quite a nice buff. And Damiane also got a fix to her animations, and they actually in the last update changed some of her animations. So if you want to go unarmed, you do have to go and swap into the gloves there. And then when you do her attacks, you'll see that she has this stance now that she'll hold. So cool. Yeah, I think this was a massive update for Damiane, and she's so much more fun to play as. Like, these unarmed attacks are just so powerful, and they also updated it so that when you're attacking an enemy that's on the ground, you now have a greater chance of hitting them. Yeah, so basically across the board, unarmed is so much better now. I would recommend using unarmed and using the turning slash ability often, as that's one of the best. And you can imbue it with lightning or fire or wind or ice, and it's just so crazy because then you can just combo this endlessly, and yeah, it's so strong. So yeah, I encourage you to try out an unarmed build for Damiane. It is just so powerful, especially with those infusements. Like, being able to freeze enemies like that is hilarious, and you get invincibility from doing that turning slash type attack, and you can just combo enemies pretty relentlessly into things. It's got a lot of stagger potential. Everything about the unarmed builds are hilarious. Damiane's movement is just so cool. Getting that infused strike too off of your main combo here is so sweet too. So whatever element you got, it's going to be infused. This is somewhat similar to the Mystic from Black Desert Online, if you're familiar. So yeah, it's really, really powerful and fun to play. And it comes with this cool stance now too. They also fixed issues with the icon for the Sword of Starlight, and fixed an issue when playing with the controller. Certain key guides would be on the bottom right-hand area of the screen would be displayed as the keyboard and mouse. I was having that happen a couple times. Also fixed GPU crashes with the AMD drivers. Now this is another update that I noticed actually, and this is something I talked about in the last update we had last weekend. So whatever happened, they dropped the frame rates for me by about 5 to 10 frames per second. It was most notable in like very heavily populated areas. I talked about that in my last video, and I've seen a lot of others that were having this issue. It's been fixed, and this is the best performance that I've gotten in this game. So whatever they did, DLSS is now working much better. Even though all they listed is the AMD drivers fix, I have a NVIDIA 4070, nothing crazy, but I'm seeing literally like 20 more frames per second. It's pretty solid. And I should mention that is with DLSS, so it's like a true like 10 plus frames per second. So it's noticeable and much better. Basically, whatever happened last time, it got reverted, and we got better performance here. Though your mileage may vary, some people's graphic cards may have worse performance. It's just the nature of these things. They also fixed some sheath issues, which obviously those would pop up as a new addition whenever you're displaying melee only on the options there. They also fixed so equipment on horses won't disappear, fixed an issue where lions, tigers, and large wolves would fall over every time that they were hit. And they also didn't mention the tigers again are respawning now. Fixed issues where you couldn't do certain actions on horsebacks. Fixed an issue where the two-handed cannons would flicker when sliding. Fixed an issue when the player would glide an excessive distance during a jump attack while equipped with a sword and shield in certain circumstances. They also fixed an issue with Awakened Ludwig here. Now, he got so many nerfs over the time. If you play this game on the base patch, he was a brutal nightmare to face off against. That has been multiple changes to him. And there's also a fix to the deferred advance mission, which is one of the most annoying, where you have to take out those towers as the Black Star, your dragon. That's been fixed. There's also some known issues that will be likely updated in 1.08, which is probably going to come next week at some point. When the playable character is forcibly changed while riding a special mount, that mount can no longer be resummoned. You can unsummon the mount and then resummon it and have success with that. They also noted Greymane faction quests cannot be progressed while playing as Damiane and Oongka. And hopefully in future updates, we'll see that they can, do some of the quests that only Cliff has access to. Maybe we'll get more movesets to be able to accommodate for that. Another funny one is the pet that was last unsummoned does not appear at the Greymane camp. This is something I probably spent an hour about looking, because they made it so that your pets used to be in one spot. Now they're everywhere. And if you unsummon it, it's not going to appear. That'll probably be fixed sometime soon. They're also fixing some changes to the evasion controls, which is a little bit buggy after it. And if Damiane dies, well, immediately after using her shield toss, she can no longer use her shield or related skills. You can resolve that by saving and reloading. And that's how a lot of the issues in-game end up getting fixed, is just a save and reload. Mac players don't have the colorblind mode, so that is going to be updated. And some other issues related to graphics cards will be updated and FSR upscaling. So yeah, an absolute banger of a patch, and I'm excited to see what comes probably next week with patch 1.08. They've been adding new content every single update. They're gonna have to slow down at a certain point. Like, it's inevitable. They can't keep this momentum up for a long time, but I'm excited to see what's coming next. I did do a video where I talked about what's likely next for this game. I would really like to see, potentially in the next update, the ability to dye two-handed weapons. I think that's something that'd be really nice, as well as the wyvern I mentioned earlier. That was something that was in the early trailers for this game. It would be really nice to be able to get a wyvern. I know a lot of people are looking forward to being able to fly that, because obviously that was the expectation when the game launched. So hopefully we'll see updates that add that in at some point, because I know a lot of people are looking for it. More updates to combat, maybe even adding in some like nature snare abilities for Damiane and Oongka, just to bring them up to where Cliff is, because you've seen the memes where people don't use Damiane or Oongka at all in this game, and it'd be nice to be able to actually make them a bit more viable. So yeah, the movement from Damiane is just so crazy. Highly recommend going and trying out Damiane's new abilities here. That kick to open, so funny. If you've played Smash Bros, it's very similar to the sex kick from like Fox. Love it. So super excited to see what comes next. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and hit the subscribe button below. We'll catch y'all in the next one.